Welcome to the Bariatric Information Patient Experience video. This video is made up of a series of clips taken from the Bariatric Information webinars that ABL Health delivered in partnership with Salford Royal Hospital. You'll hear from a range of past patients from Salford Royal as they share their experience of bariatric surgery, including what life is like after surgery, how their life has changed, and the challenges that they faced along the way. We'd like to thank Jodie, the bariatric nurse at Salford, for her time and effort in inviting these patients to share their stories.
Hi, hope you're all okay. I did put another photo on here, but it's not shown up. It's a recent one I've had done, but it's not on this slide. So my journey started probably about 4 years ago. I went through two cancelled on day procedures, but I eventually got my surgery July last year, 15th of July. I had my start weight, I think my biggest was about 105. I think I was about 103 kilos once on surgery day. I've done okay, and I'm at 66.8 kilos today. But I'll just go through some slides with you. If you can do the next slide for me. Right, so like I said, I'm 56. I was, like I said, 4 years ago, started my journey, feeling broken every day like you do, hating yourself and everything, that all the emotions you go through. People used to say, oh, you're so pretty, why don't you lose weight? Words that you don't want to hear. Like I say, I was always the bigger, fatter friend, and you always put the happy face on because you're the fat friend, even though you're dying inside. Eventually went to see my GP, who put me through to the weight management program at Lee. Unfortunately, that's stopped now, so I do feel for the guys that were going through Lee. You're given lots of tasks to do, appointments to attend, and then eventually, I went through sleep studies, psychology studies. Don't be frightened about them. It's just part and parcel. Just take it as part of your journey. Then eventually got my surgery date, which was 15th of July last year. Can you do next slide? Yeah, so like I said, my surgery, I had two different days and it was cancelled, and you sat on the ward and everything's going through your mind, and you just feel gutted when you come out. But the team at Salford are great, and they do keep in touch with you, and they try and get you in again as soon as they can. My surgery went fine. I woke up in the night though not feeling too well, and ended up somehow with a bit of a post-op infection. I stayed in for 5 days. The team was amazing, looked after me all the time that I was there. The pain, it's bearable. It's uncomfortable. I wouldn't say I was in excruciating pain. It's just you've had a lot done. I had a Roux-en-Y and a hiatus hernia repaired at the same time, so I had quite a big surgery. I didn't feel hungry. I was just thirsty, and getting your mind round where you can just used to be able to pick a drink up and have a big drink. You can't do it, so you just got to keep sipping and sipping. You get through it. Then the first few days aren't great, but it's just the start of your journey. So you've just at the end of it, you've got the goals to look forward to. Do the next slide, please. So the liquid stage wasn't as bad as I thought. I didn't really sort of miss anything. I think I just really set my mind to, this is what you've got to do. You've got to accept it. The puree stage, like I said, it's a bit like baby food, but at least it's a little bit of texture and taste after being on the liquid. Then I went on to the soft food, and that just feels like heaven. Even though you can only eat small bits, you feel it just feels great that you can finally eat something. Now I just eat off a little side plate. I can eat most foods. I do sort of struggle chicken and meat, but I was never a big chicken and meat eater anyway. I use lots of corn products, and I find that I am fine with them. You do soon learn what suits you and what doesn't. and I can even have a glass of wine or two next, like now, and you know, it's I don't really miss that sort of morning after feeling or the reflux that I used to get. So that's another bonus. Can we do the next slide? Yep. So my normal life now. I've been really lucky as yet, touching wood. I've had no dumping syndromes. I think it makes you really mindful of what you're putting in your mouth. Know your limits. If you think, oh, I'll get this extra mouthful in. I don't. I just throw it in the bin. I don't want them feelings. So I know when I've had enough. I can go out now and have meals with my friends and family. I just opt for a starter portion to come out as a main. So and I can, you're not missing out. You just got to adapt it. It's your new life, and I think the quicker you can get your head around it, that you're not going to be able to gorge on everything. That's good, but you can still go out and you can still have a life after surgery. I do miss, the only thing I really, really miss is having toast and a brew at the same time, because you can't do both together. And I don't really eat much bread at all anymore when I used to eat a ton of it. I'd say your vitamins for life, your B12 injections with your GP, get your protein in because that'll help you. My blood pressure has gone now. I don't have blood pressure medication anymore. I go swimming again now, which I enjoy as well. I've found so many health benefits. I've not had chub rub these last couple of weeks when it's been warm, and that's a bonus, as you ladies will know. Can you do the next slide, please? So ups and downs, you are going to go through bits and you're going to think, this is never going to happen for me. And at times you'll just think, I'm going to give in, or I'm going to go to Turkey or whatever. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It really isn't. Your day will come. The pain will ease. Hair loss, I've been really lucky. A little bit of thinning on sort of one side of my hair, but I've been really, really lucky. Some people, do have more hair loss, but I've been all right. Up to these last few weeks, cold. I've never felt cold like it, but I've lost a lot of what I call my excess blubber. That's gone now. So, it's strange. I've never feeling cold. I wasn't used to it. And then change to your life, but it's not forever. You can have a normal life again. You can do things. You can do more things and enjoy more things. So, could you do the next slide? So your new life, and I've found myself again. I'm happier in myself. I love swimming again. I try and go. I haven't gone as much these last couple of weeks. Well, it's been nice because I've sort of been in the garden a bit more than I should. Just shopping. I enjoy shopping. I hated shopping. It used to make me feel depressed. You fit into clothes that you didn't think you'd fit into, and it just makes a massive difference. You feel so much better when you pick something up and it doesn't fit because it's too big. Aeroplane seats are more comfortable. You're not squeezing yourself in. And you can smile again, and you're happy. You're genuinely happy. You're not going through all that pain that nobody knows you go through every day. And the next slide. So this is me now and my partner. I have lost more weight since then. But yeah, that was a bit of my story. So thank you for listening.
Oh, thanks, Helen. That was really lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that.
No,
Okay,
you're
then
welcome.
Sharon, let's go over to you.
Hi everyone. I'm Sharon, and I can't see my slides yet, so I shall write. Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm just waiting for it to see what I'm saying. Right. I'm going to start. First of all, can I say thank you to Helen, because I thought her talk was really good. I know I don't know if anybody can see the slides, because I'm afraid I can't. So you don't know what I look like at the moment, But I'm 71 years old and I now weigh 82 kilos. I've sort of plateaued. I had my surgery in 2022, so I'm 2.5 years in. And as a person, I'm a lot happier than I used to be, because where I am, I feel that I have benefited so much from having had the surgery, and I've got the support and had the support of people like Jodie and Chris, and also by attending the various Zoom and face-to-face meetings that have taken the place. So that's me a few years ago, but not, it's probably worth commenting that I don't have that many photographs. Jodie asked me if I could provide some photographs, and I had to search because as a fat person, I avoided the camera, or else I was taking photographs of other people. But I'm quite happy to be photographed now. So if we could move on to the next slide. That's me sort of about, I'm trying to remember, that's me about a year ago. Again, I don't have that many photographs, but the hair changed colour and the body slimmer, and I feel so much happier looking like that. Next slide, please. So also, I mean, basically I've covered most of those things, but having had the opportunity to have the surgery, especially on the NHS, because I think there's been so much about going and people paying for surgery. I think nowadays we are bombarded with information about losing weight, the different ways, the jabs. And certainly when I started my thinking about trying to lose weight, because I've been a failed dieter over the years, it seemed to be something that you heard that it was only celebrities that did it, people that could afford it, you know, the Vanessa Feltzes of this world and various Hollywood people that opted or were able to pay for surgery. So I do feel very fortunate that I've had the surgery. Next slide, please. To go back to a bit of my history, I think I had my adenoids out when I was about 5. And before that, I was a child that needed to be coaxed to eat. I can remember my dad saying, just have a little bit, you know, try and eat something. And the family joke was that I lost my adenoids and gained an appetite. And then I started getting bigger and bigger. I wasn't a very overweight child, but I then gradually became one of the bigger children in the class, and was conscious of being overweight from childhood onwards. I did lots of different diets over the years. Some of them were quite bizarre thinking back on them. There was one, believe it or not, where you were injected with your own urine. Goodness knows how that was meant to work, and it certainly didn't. I had to pay for it, bizarrely. I also tried hypnotherapy, which was very pleasant, but unfortunately it didn't actually help me lose weight. So I stayed sort of overweight for quite a long time. But about 10 years ago, I think it was a conversation with the GP, I live in Bury, and Bury were doing a scheme where I could have signed up for potential to have weight loss surgery. I didn't hear anything back, followed it up with the GP, and about a year later I was told, well, you don't actually meet the criteria. They never said what the criteria was, but I didn't meet them. So within that 10-year period until being accepted for bariatric surgery this time round, the heaviest I got to was about 120 kilos, which I certainly was very uncomfortable. And I don't think there's any photographs of me at that weight. So, as I said, I'm 71 now. I was just coming up for 69 when I had surgery. And I was still working when I was 69, but I decided that in what I class as my third age, so first age being growing up, second stage working, and I worked for almost 50 years. So being a retired person was going to be my third age. And the last thing I wanted to do was to be a fat old lady when I retired. I didn't want to be sitting at home stuck in front of the telly, or not doing anything and just sort of fading away into my retirement. So it was time to do something. So can I have the next slide, please? So 2018, I started the actual process of going on my journey. I went along to various interviews, and I was told, yes, you're suitable to join the program. So I started going along to classes. I think they were on a 4-weekly basis. Went into the centre of Manchester, and I met up with other people. We did wonderful exercises like carrying shopping bags, but it was the being part of a group. I found that very, very important, to be with other people who were on a similar journey. We all had our different reasons for being on that journey at that particular time. But I found that having the support and the participation of other people made a huge difference to me. That's the way I work. It's not that easy to do things on my own. I benefit from being in an environment with other people and getting the support from that. And it's a mutual thing. So I managed to achieve my 5% weight loss without too much difficulty. And I think one of the best moments was when my waist measurement was measured, and it had dropped by 5 centimeters, which was fantastic. So I don't even think I know what my waist measurement is now, but I know that it's significantly less than it used to be. So I've got nothing but thanks from the people on the ABL team, and that really did help me stay motivated. So once I'd gone through that, my attendance record was exemplary, apparently. Not like like it was for school, but never mind. So at the end of 2019, I went through all the different interviews, and as Helen mentioned, the psychiatric assessment and everything else. So at the end of 2019, I was accepted for surgery and had the discussion and even got to be a consultant. And then guess what? COVID. So 2020, COVID, and everything stopped. So that put things somewhat on the back burner, unfortunately. So can I have the next slide, please? So the picture on the left is more for amusement. That's what I looked like in the summer of 1976. I love those flares, and my hair is no longer curly. But the one on the right is probably about 20 years ago. So as you can see, I've not been slim for a long time. So can I have the next slide, please? So what happened was, once we got through lockdown, and unfortunately I did put back on about 4 of the 5 kilos that I'd lost. But then I discovered, watching what was happening, that I discovered that the surgeries were taking place again at Salford. So I got back in touch. I was actually given one date, but it wasn't convenient because I'd been invited to a wedding, and it would have meant I'd have had to start my liver reduction diet about a week before I was going to a wedding, and I didn't fancy that. So I got it changed. So October 2022 was my date. And I was quite prepared for the liver reduction diet. I'd done a lot of reading up to make sure that I knew what was expected of me. And I think I was probably dreading it at first, but the reality was, actually, it's not that bad. It's literally 2 weeks. You're cutting down, and if you think what's going to happen at the end of it, then yes, you'll do it. It's very important. I certainly didn't want anything to go wrong. I didn't want them to turn around and say, you haven't lost it, you've not cut down for the 2 weeks, so we're not going to go ahead. It wasn't worth that risk. And as I say, in the grand scheme of things, after 69 years, what the heck is 2 weeks? So it was worth it. And then I had my surgery at the Oaklands. One of the reasons you're given for having surgery as the Oaklands is that they don't really anticipate you having any problems. So you don't need to be at Salford. It's perfectly reasonable for you to go ahead at Oaklands. Now, there are definite pros and cons about having surgery at the Oaklands, and I might seem a little bit frivolous, but I think it's worth mentioning. One of the things that I was aware of, you have to go just before the day before the surgery, they want to take fresh blood. I honestly think it would have been better if I had brought a vampire bat or something, because they couldn't take any blood from me, or should I say the doctor couldn't take any blood. So my tip is never get a doctor to take blood from you, get a nurse, because the doctors haven't got a clue. I was black and blue in both arms, unfortunately, but that's just unfortunate. However, what made up for it, and more than made up for it, was the fact that if you're in an NHS hospital, and I've been in quite a few over the years, you get a cup of tea and it's perfectly drinkable. But if you are in the Oaklands, A, you're in your own room, and B, they bring you tea with a teapot and a doily under the cup and saucer on the tray. So that's certainly worth going for. I know that sounds silly, but it was a very quick experience. I was only in there for about, I think it was less than 36 hours. The only other problem was, though, that, and apparently this was a one-off, and I hope it's a one-off, I was given lots of information about what to do, the anticoagulants that you have to inject yourself with it. And unfortunately, it turned out that I was allergic to them. They brought me out in a very unpleasant rash. But I was told to expect a follow-up call from the bariatric team at Salford. I didn't get one, so I rang them, and apparently the message that I'd had the surgery didn't actually get carried across. But since then, I've got nothing but praise for the bariatric team at Salford, I have to say. Next slide, please. So I did get over the operation. There were a few minor issues. There were a couple of days when I felt great, a couple of days where I felt a bit woozy and slightly lightheaded, but I did keep to the dietary advice, go have your liquids, then your purees, then your slightly lumpy food. Again, I think I was possibly lucky because it was going into the winter, so things like soup and porridge were more than palatable. But if you think, again, it's only short term, it's not the rest of your life. So in the grand scheme of things, I would say to people, don't worry about it. There's so much support and advice that it isn't really a difficult, or I didn't find it to be a particularly difficult experience. I will hold up my hand to saying that I did unfortunately experience the dumping syndrome. It's not nice, but it doesn't last very long, and you will realize what causes it, how it affects you, and you learn how to avoid it. So now, I think in the last 2 years, I've probably, well, I should say probably in the last 6 months, I certainly haven't experienced it. Again, to echo what Helen's saying, you do have to change habits. You don't eat and drink simultaneously because you're getting your body doesn't like it. You will recognize what your body likes and what your body doesn't like. So now, the way I am, I have got so much more energy than I used to have. Obviously, I'm getting older and that has its impact, but that's in a different way. So I don't know if anybody knows Heaton Park, which is very close to where I live. But it's got the highest point in Manchester. Well, before, when I used to go there, I used to walk up the hill and stop about every 5 yards, turn round to admire the view. Now I go straight up and admire the view from the top. So it's little things like that. Those are my pointers to my success and how I feel about myself. I can look in a mirror and think, you look better than you did. I'm not perfect. I still got chunky legs. I don't think they're ever going to be the way I would like them to be, but nowadays it doesn't matter. You know, I can wear trousers, whereas I know my mum used to be a bit self-conscious because women of a certain age didn't wear trousers 50 years ago. So, but I'm happy in myself, and I feel that I have gained so much more. And also medically, I used to use inhalers. I haven't used an inhaler for over 2 years now, and I do suffer from arthritis. Unfortunately, when I was in my 30s, I was hit by a car and had a badly fractured pelvis. And as a consequence, in 2006, I had to have a hip replacement. And my consultant at the time said, "Oh, you'll probably need a revision to have it done again after about 15 years." And I still go for regular checkups. And my consultant has said to me, highly unlikely that you would ever need a replacement. So from one point of view, that's potentially saving the NHS quite a lot. And I feel good about that because I've had surgery. I've noticed that a couple of people over in the last couple of years that I've mentioned that I've had surgery. And when they've looked at me, I said, well, no, I didn't pay for it. I had it on the NHS. And again, there were raised eyebrows. But I don't feel guilty about that because there's a positive. I've had bariatric surgery. I'm fortunate. But hopefully, I won't need a further hip replacement. I'm not using inhalers, and my general health, my general well-being has improved significantly. So I think they're all positives. So that's my story. And all I would like to do is a big thank you to people like Jodie and Chris and the ABL people.
Hi everyone. So my name's Abby Brown. As Jodie mentioned, I've had my surgery now. It will be coming up to just over, just 9 years at the end of this year. I have gone through an awful lot over the last 9 years, but I needed the surgery originally because my spine was disintegrating. I was on around about 40 painkillers a day. Couldn't walk. I was around about 21 stone, I think it was, at the time. Needed to be wheelchaired through Manchester Airport because I couldn't walk. I was on crutches. So it was something that needed to be done. And I didn't want to go through life and miss my son because I had a young son at the time. So the consultant at the time mentioned to me about bariatric surgery, and I'd never even considered it at all. So I thought, well, we'll look into it. And I went to my doctors and got put forward for the Tier 4 service. It was based in Wigan. I have been through my surgery, like I say, and it's been what we call an experience. And the presentation that's on here at the minute is something that I've actually done for my work, because we have a diversity and inclusion forum and I've actually done this presentation to them. So it just mentioned on the first slide, you know, I've worked for a company called Atos. I'm the head of workforce and resource management. I've been there for now actually 17 years. So this slide's a little bit out of date. And I do have 2 dogs still. I've got 2 Shar-Peis. I've got a boy called Rubble, and I've actually got a baby who's 8 months old called Misky. Lexi actually passed away a couple of months ago. So, you know, that I need to really update this. But I have gone through, like I said, massive, massive changes. If you want to move to the next slide, Stevie, if that's okay. Okay, there we go. There's some pictures. Hate the picture, but it's something that I look at constantly, because it reminds me of where I've been and what I've done. I had the Roux-en-Y surgery, and as Jodie mentioned, I actually had my surgery originally in Chester, because that's where the tier service for the Wigan area asked me to go. I could either have gone to Chester, Liverpool, or Salford. I chose Chester at the time, because actually waiting times, the waiting time at Chester was a lot less, so I went there. And as you can see, I was quite big. But since then, I've gone from 21 stone down to about 9.5 now. I've taken up running. I don't take the painkillers anymore. So I've run quite a few things, including 4 Great North half marathons, which I'm extremely proud of that I've done that. We do 10Ks quite often. So I was doing the Wigan 10K on Sunday, just gone. And I've done an awful lot like that over the years. Running is just something that I've fallen into, I would say, but massively enjoyed it. Obesity at the time when I did my surgery was something that, you know, wasn't really talked about. It was, you know, the tiering service, I'd never really heard of it, and it's only over the last probably 10 years or so it's grown and grown and grown and more out there, and everyone's talking about it. So I like to share my journey with everyone. I like to show exactly what I've done, exactly where I've come from and to. As you can see, like I said, I've had the bypass surgery. So if you have had the surgery or not, this is where they basically, as I call it, I've got 2 stomachs now. I've got a little baby stomach and I've got my big stomach, and my food goes into my little baby one. And it obviously travels through and everything. Stevie, if you want to move on to the next one, I can't remember what the next one is actually. I think it's around about, yeah. I like to discuss about binge eating. My job and what I currently do is quite stressful. In fact, yesterday was a massive, horrible, stressful day. And binge eating and obesity is always something that I've always linked together. That's how I got big in the first place. I got big because you just, you get stressed. I get these hormones, I crave food, and I go for the sweets. I don't know about anyone else, but I go for the sweets. And I literally would eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And to me now, trying to stop myself after that surgery has been the battle. I get the you want it on this shoulder, and then the one on this one that says, no, you can't have it. No, you've got to eat only a little bit. Got to be really, really careful. Otherwise, you know, the tool that you have got is just, you might as well not have had it. And it's a big vicious circle. And 9 years out, I still have this. I still have the you want to eat it on my shoulder all the time. And it's a constant battle. So if you are coming up to surgery, I always say to people, just be mindful of that. Be mindful that the surgery is just the tool. It's not going to solve all the problems at all. it's something that you need to constantly work on, constantly be aware of when you're going into restaurants, when you're going for food and things like that, of going for the right choices. You know, not going for the fried food all the time. Your veg, when you're eating, eat your protein first. The dietitians will talk you all through this, but it's something that's got to be constantly on your mind. And it's constantly on my mind. It's on my son's mind, who's now 14. It's on my new husband's mind as well. He sees it. He sees when he knows that I want something, and he knows when I'm eating a plate of food, he can actually tell when I'm getting full, but when I want to continually carry on eating. And I know I need to stop myself, and I'll look at him and he'll go, no, and he'll actually take the plate away from me. So it's something that affects not just you, but it affects your wider family as well. So if you've got support or anything like that, talk to them about it. Talk to them about when you're about to, the faces that you pull, or the mouth actions and things like that, that are the key telltale signs that you're about to binge eat. Sorry. Obviously, you know, binge eating and then the guilt and depression and everything like that, if you do, is something that we all go through. Stevie, if you want to go on to the last slide, I think it is, isn't it? I talk about, when I've done this talk before, about the tips, you know, to how to manage your stress. Use you know, some strategy boxes that you can, you know, work out where you do stress, what you can do differently. So I sometimes leave my fruit and things like that in the fridge or in the cupboards, so that when I am stressed, if I do go to a cupboard, I'll go for those things first. I plan a lot of my meals, and I plan what we're having based upon my needs, like small plates and things like that. Exercise, like I say, I took up running. I did the couch to 5K. I actually sat here after my surgery. I was watching the Great North in the September, and then I watched the London Marathon in the April, and it was talking about the couch to 5K, and I thought, I wonder if I can do that. And I did. And like I say, now 4 half marathons, constant 10Ks, 5Ks all the time, walking the dogs, you know, things like that. So exercise is a really, really good tip as well, to get those endorphins going, that you know, help you if you are wanting to try and eat, if you are stressed. Plenty of water. Your dietitian will tell you, you know, drink water, drink. I always struggled actually to drink the amount that you were told. I think it was not a litre a day, it was a couple of litres. I always struggled to do that. So I add sugar-free Vimto into mine. I've got a bottle that when I do struggle with my drinking, my bottle flashes at me to tell me to drink, to remind me to drink. You know, food diaries. We all keep food diaries when we're going through the tiering sessions with the dietitians and things like that. And then, you know, get support if you do need any help. There's lots of help out there as well. A couple of other things that I don't think is on my slides, that surgery itself, like I said, is the tool. For me, I had lots of excess skin after my surgery, which I've now had 4 different surgeries to remove. So I've had my arms, as I call them, bingo wings, removed, tummy tuck, and in January of this year I had my thighs done as well. So there's always something that, you know, you need to think about when you're having the surgeries and things like that, that are discussed, but just be aware of. That's my journey. It's been massive, absolutely massive. I'm still now, like I say, about 9.5 stone. 9 years later. But it's because of work, and it's because I've worked on it constantly. That's me.
My name's Ant. I'm 52. Been struggling with my weight for many years. Since my back condition started, really, in 1999. Because I was quite heavy at the time, but I was fit with it and playing rugby and different things, and I was managing the weight well, carrying the weight well. But then as soon as I started with my back condition, the weight started to creep on. I lost my job, came out of work because of my ill health. That's where it all started. Obviously, my mood went down, started maybe comfort eating. I was inactive because I wasn't working. Then obviously what comes with the weight is other conditions. So not only did I have the trouble with my back, I also started with blood pressure, diabetes, sleep apnea. I've also started with problems in my knees as well because of obviously the weight came on, and I've been now struggling with osteoarthritis in both knees, which I've found out I need knee replacements. So that was another incentive to lose the weight, because I wasn't going to get that surgery unless I'd lost it. On the screen is obviously my starting weight, where I was when I initially started with weight management, which the first time I started was in 2010. But then I didn't fully embrace the service at the time. So I didn't lose much weight. And after 2 years, I wasn't put forward for surgery, and I left the service still more or less being the same weight. The second time I joined a few years later, but I was also doing it with Slim World, where I managed to lose 4 or 5 stone, and felt in myself that I didn't need surgery at the time then either, because I was losing the weight fine by myself and attending the Slim World and weight management appointments. So I went to the seminar about the surgery, but didn't actually take it up at the time. I quickly put some of that weight back on and realized that without any help through surgery, that I would literally, my health would continue to deteriorate, and I was worried about the future. I just had a grandson, and I wanted to obviously be around a lot longer than what was prognosis at the time was. You mean all these conditions are going to limit your life, and I wasn't getting about. I was disabled. I was stuck in a chair or walking around on sticks with calipers on my knees to ease the pain on my knees. So I really just thought to myself, I'm going to have to join the service again, give it 100%, which is what I did. I attended all the classes. I went to all the physio, went to all any psychology I needed, any weigh-ins, any appointments with the dietitians and everything. I took everything on board. I didn't listen to anybody outside. I just did whatever was asked of me, and whatever the advice was, I took it and embraced it. And then after the 2 years of being on the service again, I'd lost a considerable amount of weight. I'd lost over 10%. They said that I was a candidate for surgery. So they had the MDT meeting. I was put forward for surgery, and had to wait, as everybody does, a long time, which was like 64 weeks from being put forward to having me 4-in-1, which, like I said at the time, it seems forever, and it's never going to end, but it is worth the wait, because in the meantime, while waiting, I joined the gym. I joined a swimming class at Ashton, which is like it's an assisted swim class where you don't actually just go to swim. I do exercises in the pool, which obviously takes a lot of weight off my back and my knees and helps that way. When I attended the gym, it was through Steps to Health. I had a trainer called Dan who was from the weight management service side of things, and he tailored me a routine that would help with all my conditions and wouldn't stress me back or my knees in any way, because it was all supported exercise. Like I said, after being on it for 2 years, I attended the Zoom meetings. I got put forward. Can you do the next slide, please? Right, that on the left is at my heaviest weight, and the one on the right is me just before I go to the gym at my now weight 15 stone, which when I was the weight on the left, it was like I never thought that would happen. You know what I mean? It was like a dream of ever getting down to that weight, because like I said previously, I could lose with a lot of work around 4 stone, but when you starting off at 27 stone, 27 and a half stone, you lose 4 stone, you mean you're not even touching the surface of what you need to get off. So that's why, like I said, there was the motivation as well as the health benefits and you know, the fact that I needed operations, and there was no way I was going to get the operations without the weight loss. That's, like I said, how I've gone from the left picture to the right with a lot of work and a lot. Like I said, the surgery is not some miracle cure. I mean, you have to work at it, and it is a long journey, and it is hard work. And like I said, there's a lot of waiting time, but in the meantime, you can help yourself by, like I said, I was watching what I was eating. I lost 5 stone before the surgery in all, through diet and through exercise. Even though I had the conditions, I still went to the gym and had a tailored routine, which wasn't high impact or high weight or anything. It was just light exercise with supported machines. And obviously the pool was a big help, like I said, because of the weight not bearing down on my joints. You show the next slide, please. So yeah, this is what, like I said, what I was talking about. I tried a lot of ideas before, as we all do. Calorie counting, Super Diet, Atkins, Slimming World. Like I said, I've lost weight on them all. I've lost varying amounts of weight, but none have really stuck. And I've always ended up putting weight back on and giving up eventually. And then you're back to where you started, or maybe halfway back to where you started. If I've lost 4 stone, I'd maybe put 2 on and then give up, and my weight had plateau. Like I said, my health was deteriorating, as well as the conditions I mentioned. I developed sciatica, which I had an operation on my disc to relieve that. I had left ventricular hypertrophy, which was a worry because it's on my heart. And I had to have an angiogram to check a regular heart rhythm that I had at the time, and it was all worrying. So that was, like I said, extra motivation. Before I'd lost any weight, because I was on disability and I wasn't working, I was literally stuck in the house, looking at 4 walls, wondering where my life was going. I didn't like the way I looked. I couldn't get any confidence to go anywhere or do anything or go to any events or weddings or such, even, you know, family gatherings or anything. I'd always make an excuse to stay away. Like I said, the 2 previous tries were unsuccessful. The third one obviously I'm where I'm at now. Just one sec. Oh yeah, when I had the 4-in-1, I was that motivated. I'm assuming the surgery team obviously saw it in me and knew that my head was in the right place. So he told me in the 4-in-1 that there was no need for the psychology, because I was adamant that, I mean, I was 100% doing it, and he could see the effort that I'd put in and the weight I'd lost. And I was attending the gym and pool, like I said, and he said to me, like, I'll put you forward, there's no need for that. And I already had sleep apnea, so I didn't need the sleep study. So that obviously didn't delay me at all. Yeah, I was scheduled for surgery at the beginning of January, which meant I had to do my 2 weeks liver reduction diet from the 23rd of December, which was just before Christmas. So I literally had no Christmas and no New Year of eating any Christmas dinner, having any alcohol of any kind, missed out on all that. Thought that my surgery was going ahead on the 3rd of January. I went for the group and saved blood on the 2nd of January. Everything was fine. They said, I'll see you tomorrow for the surgery. The morning of the surgery comes and I get a phone call saying, unfortunately, we've had to cancel because the anaesthetist ill and we can't get cover. They said normally we can get cover, but for this day we couldn't get it. So I was like mortified. I'd just done my liver reduction diet over Christmas and was wondering, I mean, when I was going to get the surgery, because it was cancelled and they couldn't give me a date. They didn't know when it was going to be. So I just had to wait. But luckily, it was either that day or the day after, I can't remember, that they rung me and said that they're going to open up a date to do the people who've missed on the 3rd of January. They were going to do them on the 6th of Feb, which wasn't a massive amount of time to wait. So then I had to do the liver reduction diet again from the 23rd of January, sorry, to the 6th of Feb. 6th of Feb come, everything went fine. I went to Auckland's because I'd got my BMI down to 45 pre-op, and I knew at the time that people were mentioning if you could get your BMI below 50, that it was a massive plus and that you would potentially not need the specialist care at Salford, and the wait time was maybe longer at Salford. So that's why it encouraged me more to try and get my BMI down. So yeah, I had the operation at Auckland's. I had the full bypass Roux-en-Y, and stayed in overnight, went home the day after, and everything went great with the operation. Can you do the next slide, please? So yeah, my post-op, directly after the surgery, I had really bad gas pains. I found that putting my arms above my head would ease that, and it did help, because, like I said, the gas pains were crazy. But luckily they only lasted a few days, and I had some liquid paracetamol to help with that, which it did help, and the peppermint water, which is, like I said, that's invaluable at the time, because you're literally just throwing the syringes in, trying to ease the pain. And I also had a headache, which obviously the paracetamol helped as well. But that, like I said, that eased after a few days as well. Regarding post-op, I did exactly what they mentioned. I did. They said you could do 2 or 3 weeks of each of the stages, but I just got it in my head that I would just do the 3 weeks full of each stage. So I did obviously 3 weeks fluid, puree, semi-solid, went on to normal food after that. But there's certain things I still can't tolerate, like beef, rice, and bread. I mean, beef's a big thing because it's so hard, the texture, and it's very difficult to chew. So I feel it, no matter how much I chew it, I feel like I can't chew it enough for it to go down and be comfortable. So I just try and avoid that the best I can, to be honest. I find that chicken is a really softer kind of meat, so I just I have that in a stew, which has been main thing. Regarding the weighing, I only weigh myself once a week. I try and avoid going anywhere near scales apart from once a week. And I only weigh myself on the day of my surgery. So I have my surgery on the Tuesday, and I just get weighed every Tuesday. No matter what happens, no matter whether I want to get on scales or not, I just leave it till Tuesday. I don't fixate on it until that day, and that's how I cope with it. Otherwise, I would, if I kept getting gains day after day, it would hinder me progress, I think, fixating on it too much. Since surgery, because of the full bypass, I've never felt hungry since, which is obviously a massive help, because you're literally not eating because you're constantly hungry. I literally eat just because to get the fuel in my body. And I've made a big thing of them saying, have your protein first, have your veg second, and then have carbs if you need them. So I very rarely eat carbs. I'm literally sticking to a lot of meat and veg and fruit, like bananas is a big thing, because it's even though you only have a small amount, it does satisfy you for a long time. Yeah, fluids is a difficult one because obviously you need to drink a lot of fluid to keep hydrated, but it's not easy when you're first starting out, because you can't eat and drink at the same time because there's literally not enough room, and you feel rough after. So try and avoid that and separate your eating and drinking full stop, because I did that and it definitely helps. I mean, I can now tolerate both at the same time, but I can't eat like a slightly bigger meal and drink at the same time. So I try and have smaller meals if I want to drink, if you know what I mean. Regarding, yeah, saw and felt the difference within a few weeks of the op, to be honest. I'd obviously seen it pre-op because I'd lost the 5 stone, and I'd had to get smaller clothes over that time scale of losing the 5 stone, but it was obviously over a couple of years maybe, where I was going from 6XL clothes to then I'd go down to 4XL, and I think at the time of my surgery I was between 4 and 3. But then post-op, it's like crazy. I was buying 2XL, and then next minute I was too big, I was too small for them, and I'd have to get rid of them clothes, and then I'd have to buy 1XL, and it sounds great at the time, but then it's honestly difficult to. I learned that I could only buy a couple of outfits at the time, because I thought there's no point wasting money on decent clothes or lots of different clothes, because you're gonna like grow out of them very quickly. If you mean obviously when everything works, because the weight loss is crazy when if you stick to it. It's like I said myself, it started coming off big numbers every week, and there was very few weeks where I wouldn't lose, but there was some where my weight would stall, and I'd feel negative about it. But then I'd realise how far I'd come, and the fact that I had the surgery and the bigger picture, and think, right, well, I'll just forget that and then crack on with the next week, which is what I did. And then the week after, I'd lose some weight. So it does eventually come off, and it, like I said, it's come off very quickly for me. But I'm just putting it down to the fact that I'm also going to the gym and burning a lot of calories off and going swimming and things like that. So the exercise will definitely help if you do that. It also doesn't bother me regarding attending things now, regarding the food situation, because there's always something that you can have. I mean, I've started having starters when I go out for a meal, where it's just a couple of little chicken goujons or something, and people get used to me just having a starter and taking my time over the starter, and they're having full meals. I mean, I've been to McDonald's with people, and I sat there with me a little pot of casserole and a brew, and they've been eating McDonald's, or I've been out for a meal, or I've been to a do where there's been a big buffet, and I've literally got a couple of things and put it on my plate, and I've been sat there with me cordial or fresh orange or something, where I've just not bothered with alcohol, and it doesn't bother me, to be honest. So I've adjusted well from that point of view, where I'm not missing it and I'm not feeling down about it, because I'm feeling like it's a positive, and I don't want to jeopardize what I've been doing by trying to overeat, or trying to eat the wrong thing, or trying to drink the wrong thing. So that's how I've coped with it. I've just got my head around it, and I'm just sticking to it. You know, long term, making it, that's my new normal, and that's what I eat, and that's how I'm doing it. So yeah, next slide, please. So yeah, there's plenty of positives about the surgery. There's obviously the weight loss, which is a big thing. What comes with the weight loss is obviously improved health. I now have no high blood pressure, which is recent. I don't have diabetes, that's in remission. I was also taking water tablets, which I no longer take because I was getting fluid retention in my leg. And I'm still getting it slightly, but it's nowhere near as bad. And I was also getting the peripheral neuropathy in my feet, which I still get a little bit, but it's, like I said, my feet are not burning as much as what they used to. So it's definitely improved my health, and it's only getting better. It also increases your mental outlook. I'm very positive about the future. I'm no longer concerned about, like I said, dying young, or not seeing my grandson grow up, or my son's due to get married in a couple of years. I'm now positive about that. I have a lot more confidence, a lot more self-esteem in myself. I look in the mirror and I feel great. Like I said, there is the loose skin, but I feel like I can put up with it, and it's, the majority of it's covered when I'm wearing clothes, so it never enters my head to be bothered about it, to be honest. It's just part of what comes with the surgery, to be honest. Obviously my mobility is improved. I'm still got the same conditions. I've still got the back conditions. I'm still waiting for new knees, but I'm now on the list for new knees, because obviously the weight is not a concern anymore. So that's a positive. I'm on the list for my knees. I'm just waiting to see the surgeon. I also feel like a regular person, like people are not judging me, because when I used to go out before, I used to get looks at me, and people will be like judging me without even knowing me, looking me up and down, watching me struggle about on mistakes or in chair or whatever I was doing, and they have the wrong opinion about you because you're this person stuck in a body that you don't want to be in. Like say you are a regular person, but feeling like a regular person only really comes obviously how you feel yourself. And I do now, I can walk the street and feel like a normal person. I've had comments of that you'd never guessed that you'd lost that weight. You'd never guessed that you were big initially because of how I look at the moment, which just gives you more confidence when you hear people like that. It's great being able to go into a store and buy normal clothes. I'm now like medium pants and large top, where before I was 6XL tops and 3XL. Like I just wear joggers all the time because them's the only things I could get on. Now I can, like I said, I can wear normal things and tapered jeans and smaller tops and stuff, which, like I said, obviously it's going to give you more confidence. I go out socializing, I go to events, I have days out. Another positive obviously is not feeling hungry at the moment, which I know will subside and I'll start feeling hungry further down the line, but I'm fully ready and I'm capable of controlling that. I know it because of how I've been and what I've put in place for when that happens. I also like a lot of different foods that I know I didn't like before, which is strange because I never thought that I'd be like that because I was always stuck eating the same kind of food. And I'd always shy away from things that I didn't like or didn't like the texture or anything. But now I'll try different things, which is good. Next slide, please. So the negatives, there are obviously negatives, but in my opinion, the positives so much outweigh these negatives that, I mean, like I said, there obviously is going to be things that you're going to worry about and things that are negative, but in my opinion, that you can cope with them. Do you know what I mean? They're not things that you can't get over. Obviously, I can't eat the same amount of food that I once could, but obviously you get used to that. You get used to having a certain amount. You get used to portioning a certain amount out. You get used to the feeling of being full and not being able to eat more than what is in that pot and or what's on your plate. Drinking a certain amount at any one time. Like I said, there's loose skin, but like I said, I've got, once you get your head around it and the way you feel, the positivity you feel when you're looking in a mirror is far greater, in my opinion, than seeing the loose skin. Because, like I said, the majority of it's covered up with tops of my arms or my stomach or the tops of my thighs. I mean, it's not horrendous and it is manageable, in my opinion, in my point of view. I'm feeling a lot more cold, which my wife laughs about because she used to be the cold one and I used to be boiling hot all the time. Obviously, maybe due to my blood pressure and my diabetes and things like that, but I was constantly hot all the time and sweating and would never wear a jacket and things like that. And now I'm feeling the cold a lot more, which it is a small thing, but it is a negative in my point of view. I have to adjust to the social side of things because obviously I'm a lot more sociable, but you get used to being unsociable and hiding yourself away. So doing this right now and going out and speaking to people, even just in a social situation, at a wedding or at a do or something, it is ridiculously hard, especially for me because I was stuck in the house for such a long time. It is very hard to adjust, but I am trying. Like I said, I'm trying this, which is massive for me. There's obviously the clothes that I mentioned, which the expense is a thing. Obviously, we're not all made of money, so it's like it is difficult trying to get the money together to buy new clothes. But like I said, until I got to this weight, I literally got to the point where I was just like, right, I'll just buy a couple of things and I'll just wear them constantly because my weight's constantly coming down. I'll just wear a couple of outfits and just leave it at that. And when I got to this weight, I thought, right, well, these are the sizes that I'm going to be in now. So I stuck to that and I've started buying more things. Social eating choices and drinking is a thing as well, obviously, because I do have to make those choices. But like I said, I have got my head around it, and it is a lot easier for me now. But if you're a big drinker, and you obviously we all like to have food, it is hard to get your head around. But once you, like I said, once you get in that mindset, it will become a lot easier. Certain foods that I once enjoyed is a negative because I no longer like them, because a lot of them was made of mince and beef and things which I now can't tolerate. But I have chosen other things. Like I said, the casserole that I make is a big thing. It's in the slow cooker, and it's just chicken and veg, and it's like I said, it's my new favorite food. It keeps me going. Yeah, there's the dense foods like the carbs and the meat is a difficult thing because it's very uncomfortable, you know, on stomach. And I don't think I've had the dumping syndrome yet, but I've been close to it. I've been close to throwing up, and I've been close to feeling ropey and getting a bit sweaty and, you know, feeling dodgy like. So it is, when you start feeling like that, it is a big motivator not to overeat and not to eat too fast or eat and drink at the same time. It is a reminder, so it did help me. Next slide, please. So yeah, this is me pre-weight. Not obviously full weight on all of them, but this is what I look like, and I was struggling pre-op, pre-me weight loss, because like I said, I've lost 5 stone before the surgery as well. So this was me struggling and finding it very difficult to get about. Once I got on the floor, I'd need help getting up off the floor, which is in the 4th picture. I was playing with my grandson, and literally my wife and grandson had to help pull me up, or I have to lean on the couch and climb up on the couch to get up, which, like I said, it was a nightmare to try and do. So yeah, this is me at top weight or starting to lose the weight. Next slide, please. So this is around me up. I think I was around 23 stone, I think, something like that, 20, 24. Like I said, I was around 3XL, 4XL tops at the time, and really struggling. The 4th one is where I was in my room waiting for the surgery. Feeling positive about and looking forward to losing the weight. Next slide. This is me 3 months post-op. I've lost about maybe 3-4 stone since the op at this point. That was June. I think that top, the 2XL on the left, and the pants maybe XL at the time. Feeling a lot, as you can see in my face, I was feeling a lot happier. Next slide. And this is me around about now. First one's social situation. The second one's walking my dog Chewy, who's a little sweetheart. She's 3, but She's literally 1.5 kilos, little chalky. When I was bigger, people used to laugh at me walking her because I was so big and walking this little tiny dog, like struggling around, doing a few steps from, you know, bench to bench in the park. That's literally what I could do. I'd do a couple of benches, then my wife would take her around the park. Where now I can do a lot more. Third one's the gym. The fifth one is when I went to Blackpool supporting my wife on a night run, what she'd done. And the sixth one is this week I did a memory walk. I had to use my hiking sticks, and I had some bandages on my knee for support, but I managed a 2K memory walk in aid of my mum, who's got dementia and Alzheimer's. So I would never have dreamed of being able to do that at one point. But yeah, I managed it with my wife, with my sticks and my knee pads. So yeah, like I said, the change is massive. Like I said, at this point, I'd lost, from my heaviest weight, I'd lost 12.5 stone. So super chuffed. The next slide. I think that's me.
This is my weight loss story for everybody. I have got a slide at the end that is for questions. So if anybody has any questions, if you could save it to the end, that would be great. So if you just move it along, please. Okay, so this is my bariatric journey. I am 2 years post-op. Next slide, please. Okay, so my starting weight was 24 stone and 13 pounds. My current weight is 13 stone and 13 pounds. So in total, up to now, I've lost 11 stone and 10 pounds. Next slide, please. Okay, so how long have I struggled with my life? I have struggled with my life all my life. I was bullied awfully as a child and a teenager. My weight has held me back all my life. I've lost and gained weight repeatedly over decades. Next slide, please. So what have I done previously to try and lose weight? Many, many different things. I've done Slimming World many times. I've done Weight Watchers. I've counted calories. I've done Rosemary Conley. I've done the Cambridge diet, the Atkins diet. I've been to the doctors and been given medication. I tried everything that I possibly could. Next slide, please. So what did I do? Well, I went to my GP and asked for help. Now, first of all, they gave me medication, and then they referred me to the specialist weight management team, which is in the Wigan and Leigh area. And I took all the support and advice that they offered. I went to exercise classes, I had psychology support, I saw dietitians, I saw occupational therapists, and I was offered bariatric surgery. Now, I went to an education session at, it wasn't Salford Royal, it was a different hospital that I can't remember the name of, but it absolutely terrified me. And I thought, no, I'm going to do it on my own again. It's too much of a big step. And I tried to lose weight again on my own. And I was successful for a short time, as I had been on many other occasions before. But then when it became hard again, I gave up and I put the weight back on again. So I went back to specialist weight management again, and I had another 2 years of support from them. And then I was referred to Salford Royal. I was put on a waiting list, and I followed all the support that Salford Royal gave me. And I really thought that this was my last chance to have the life that I really wanted. And after being on the waiting list for, I think, about 18 months, 2 years, something like that, I was given a surgery date of the 13th of June, which happened to be my son's birthday. Next slide, please. So 2 weeks before my surgery, I was asked to go on an LRD diet, which is the liver reduction diet. Now, I've read lots of different people's stories of the liver reduction diet, and many different surgeons ask for people to follow different diets. But my surgeon asked me to go on lean protein and leafy vegetables. So I was eating a lot of chicken, salads, things like that. No root vegetables or carbohydrates or anything like that. And I was really strict to it and stuck to it as best as I could, but it really was not easy. I was hungry a lot of the time. I was lightheaded at first, but I did get used to it. Now, on the 13th of June, I went off to hospital and I waited over 8 hours. Unfortunately, the lady before me had had some complications, so at the very last minute, my surgery was cancelled. I stayed on the liver reduction diet because I said to the surgeon, if there's any cancellations, if anything happens, I'll come in. Now, I only tell you this, I'm not saying it as a complaint about sulfur oil or anything like this. The only reason that I say it is because this is not an easy journey. Things can happen. You can look forward to the surgery date, and right at the last minute, it can get cancelled, and this does happen. Anyway, I was given the next date of the 22nd of June. In between these two dates, I stayed on the liver reduction diet, and the 22nd of June came. Next slide, please. How did I feel? I was absolutely petrified. I'd read horror stories. I worried that I hadn't stuck to the liver reduction diet well enough, even though I had, and worried that I'd wake up and they'd said they wouldn't be able to have done it. And I was absolutely terrified. But I trusted the surgeons, I trusted the people at Sulphur Royal, and I went ahead with it. Next slide, please. So this is me the day after my surgery. I had 6 scars, and I felt pretty terrible the next day. Although I was able to walk around, everybody was lovely with me, and I got through it. Okay, next one, please. Okay, so next one after that, that's it. So how did I feel after surgery? It was not easy. I felt sick a lot of the time. I could only manage very small amounts of fluid. But the tricky thing is, even though you can only eat a tiny bit at a time, you've got to make sure you're getting enough protein, fibre, fluids, and your medication in. So every mouthful has got to be valuable. It's really important that before you go into surgery, you're prepared for this stage and that you've researched what you're allowed to eat, what you're not allowed to eat, what liquids are best to eat. Now, I found things like beef broth were good. Once I'd done the liquid diet and I moved on to purees, I found protein yogurts were good, things like that. But during the first few weeks and months, I lost a lot of weight. Now, this is a post that I put on Instagram at the time. I have found it quite difficult looking back because it's 2 years ago. I've forgotten what it was like. So I've had to scroll through my posts on Instagram to try and remember what it actually felt like. But in a way, that reassures me because I think, although it was hard, it's over and I got through it and I'm in a much better place now than I was then. So it was worth it. Next slide, please. Okay, 1 year on. How much weight did I lose at 1 year post-op? So at 1 year post-op, I was 15 stone. So I'd lost just less than 10 stone in total. How did my life change 1 year on? I had so much more energy. I felt a lot more confident. I was able to do a lot more. And I was generally just enjoying my life more. I was enjoying buying nicer clothes. I was enjoying being able to spend more quality time with my family. I was enjoying just not feeling exhausted all the time, to be quite honest. Next slide, please. Okay, this is me 2 years on. How much weight did I lose? So now 2 years on, I've lost almost 12 stone. So only 2 stone in the last year. My weight loss has slowed down a lot. There have been small gains and stalls along the way, which can be extremely frustrating. How has my life changed further in the second year? Well, I really enjoy exercising now. I don't get out of breath anywhere near as easily as I used to. I can remember exercising when I was at my heaviest and I felt like my lungs were bleeding. Whereas now, like yesterday, I went to the gym and I did a full hour of cardio and I absolutely loved it. And I felt on top of the world when I'd done it. And when I think about it, I don't think I could have imagined ever saying I really enjoyed running for an hour. I couldn't have imagined of being able to do that. But I absolutely love cardio workouts now. I look forward to exercise and I find it really helps with my mental health. And like I said, I never thought I'd say that. I get weighed at the gym now and it gives you your muscle mass. And so although I've only lost 2 stone in the last year, I have gained a lot of muscle. So that reassures me slightly. Next slide, please. Any regrets? So I've got a lot of regrets, but the biggest one is, why did I spend so many years held back by my weight? Why didn't I do this sooner? I had the opportunity to have bariatric surgery maybe 2 years before I did, but I was too scared to do it. And I do regret not doing it earlier. One of the things that slowed down me getting the surgery when I did was because of COVID. And if I'd have done it the first time, it would have happened a lot quicker. But we can't live in hindsight, and I'm just glad that I've done it now. So next slide, please. Okay, how has losing the weight affected my life? There are so many things that I'm able to do now that I couldn't do before, that I just didn't have the confidence to do. Like I said, I love exercising now. I go to the gym at least 3 times a week. My mental health is so much better. I feel so much more confident. I feel more motivated to do things. My self-esteem is so much better. I don't worry about what other people think of me as much. I've got a new job that I absolutely love, and I would never have had the confidence to even apply for the job that I've got now. I've got a lot more energy. When I look back on my life before, I was absolutely exhausted most of the time, whereas now I've got energy all the time. I very rarely sit down for long periods of time. I bounce about all the time now. I feel a lot more positive about myself, about my life, about the future ahead of me, about things that I can do with my family, about holidays I can go on. I just feel generally a lot more positive. I make plans for things that I want to do, places I want to visit, things I want to achieve. Whereas before, all I really thought about was how awful I felt, how overweight I was, how uncomfortable I felt, and how tired I was all the time. I feel more confident to wear clothes I like and feel confident in them. It's so nice to be able to go into a normal shop and try something on and it actually fit you. That is just, I can't describe how nice that is. I used to have to go in shops that were just made for big people, and the majority of things that I tried on looked horrendous on me. I went and bought a waterproof jacket yesterday. It was a size 12. I cannot describe how nice that felt to be able to go and buy a nice jacket. That I have to go and buy a waterproof jacket in July is a completely different issue, but it was a size 12 coat. And I look at myself in the mirror in the changing rooms and want to cry because it feels that good. So life is just a lot happier. Next slide, please. So have I struggled post-op? This is in no way an easy option. These books that you can see on the screen are all the diaries that I've written since I had bariatric surgery. Until about 4 months ago, I wrote down everything that went in my mouth, how much water I drank, how much protein I had, everything. But I also got into the habit of writing down things that had made me feel positive that day, whether it was I'd seen my first daffodil in spring, and just trying to make myself feel more positive and not be focusing on the negative things in my life. I think when I look back, I spent a lot of time dwelling on negative things that were going on and would turn to food as a comfort. So along this journey, I've had to question, why did I overeat? Why did I turn to food so much? So that in the future, I've got healthier ways of dealing with mental health problems, which when I look back, I think that was why I got overweight. I wasn't able to deal with life, and I turned to food on too many occasions. But this was not an easy option. I have to be on the ball with protein, fluids, fibre, my medication, how often and how frequent I eat, along with how quickly I eat, how much I chew my food. This is something I have to think about every day. I still eat off a sandwich plate. I still eat with a small knife and fork that, you know, people would call like a cake fork, because I'm psychologically making myself think that I'm eating a larger portion when I'm not. I'm eating a child-size meal, but I'm enjoying food again now. I can go out for meals and eat what normal people would think is a normal size portion, whereas before I was just eating far too much. Next slide, please. Are there any negatives? Now, in my opinion, the positives far outweigh the negatives, but it is important to know as much as you can before you make any decision. Now, for me, there are two big negatives. Number one was hair loss. After about 3 months, I started losing a lot of hair. It has mostly grown back now, but I did not like losing my hair. It was not a nice thing to go through. Being in the shower and big clumps of hair falling out is not a nice experience. But I was prepared for it. I knew it was going to happen. Although I still didn't like it, you just have to be aware that this is something that could happen. Now, I was on top of how much protein I had. I always made sure I had 60 to 80 grams of protein a day, if not more, but I still lost quite a lot of hair. 2, excess skin. I have got a lot of excess skin. My arms, my boobs, my tummy, my thighs, to me, look absolutely horrendous. Now, I am planning to go abroad to have skin removal surgery because I can't afford to have it done here in the UK. But if you are considering having bariatric surgery, you just need to be aware that these are some of the negatives that can happen.
Katrina, so I had surgery in February 2023. My start weight was around 20 stone 1 and my current weight is 11 stone 5. In 3 days I'm actually 17 months out of surgery and I've lost 8 stone 10 pound. Next slide, please. So that was like my biggest that I've been until about a month ago on the other picture. Next slide, please. It's my journey. I always yo-yo dieted. I've tried everything. Slimming World, keto, calorie counting, Cambridge, Weight Watchers. I've done them all. And then I went to the doctors for something in 2019 and the nurse she'd had surgery, so she'd mentioned it to me. So she got me referred over and I joined the specialist weight management service. I was attending classes and I lost around 2 stone, but I was always stuck at the 2 stone. And then COVID hit. Classes stopped, everything was over the phone. They tried to keep on top of things over the phone and it was hard, like constantly, and it was just phone calls after phone calls. You never saw anyone face to face. But then fast forward to February 2022 and I got the phone call saying I had my 4-in-1 appointment. So I went to Salford, had that appointment, was told I was on a waiting list. I'd been tested for sleep apnea. And then I didn't really carried on with the specialist weight management service and didn't really hear anything. And then in the November, I got a phone call and they were saying that your surgery is in February 2023 in Auckland's hospital. And I went in for surgery that day. Everything went really smoothly, all perfectly. And I was home the morning after. Someone came around and said, right, you can go home, keep on top of it, drink your fluids. So I went home the day after. Next slide, please. So after surgery, the first few weeks was absolute mental torture for me. I thought I was going to wake up and not be hungry, but I was hungry. I was starving constantly, and everybody seemed to be eating all the foods I loved. I walked out the house, I cried, I padded, I cried some more. I was convinced surgery hadn't worked for me. I missed food so much. I'm quite ashamed of how much I cried. And then I got to puerperal stage and I was still a bit like, oh, I don't think this is for me. This is horrendous. I don't think it's worked. As soon as I hit soft food stage, that was it. I had 2 mouthfuls and I was like, no, I'm full. I'm full. It's definitely worked. Everything's working, and it was all worth it. All the tears, all the tantrums, all the walks out, everything was worth it. And then once I hit around 12 months, I started being able to snack again. I couldn't sit down, still can't sit down and eat like a full big meal. But if you put crisp in front of me, I'd be able to pick it up constantly. So you've got to be mentally ready for things creeping back in, things coming back, and you've got to mentally be like, no, don't do it. Like, stop yourself. You can have a treat. You can have anything you want in moderation. I eat whatever I want in moderation, but you can't. You've got to notice it before it happens. Next slide, please. So my downsides were the first month, like I said, mental torture. It killed me. I was not ready for it. You've got to make sure you're mentally ready. That first month, I was definitely not ready for it at all. And then the hair loss. After a couple of months, my hair started falling out in massive clumps. I was mortified. So I chopped my hair straight down to a bob. It was like down past my bum, and I just chopped it straight off. I said, one big cut, I'll not feel like I'm losing as much. But now it's like really healthy and really nice again. So it was bad going through it, but then afterwards it was okay again. Cold. During winter, I was so cold. I was like, I had 2 pairs of pajamas on, I had an hoodie on, I had quilts wrapped around me, I had the heating on. Be ready to be cold. I was constantly freezing. You need some fluffy pajamas. And then also my only other downside is sometimes I get a bit too excited. If we've got family round and they have a takeaway and I'm like, oh, I can pick at this and I can pick at that. And I'll pick like a couple of things too quickly, and then that's it. It's like I feel really sick. I still do the 20-20-20 rule. I still chew everything 20 times. I still wait 20 seconds. I still follow all the guidelines, and that's one of my main things is follow your guidelines. Because follow your surgeon's guidelines. You'll join Facebook groups, and there's a lot of people going through the same journey but different ways, and everybody's being told different things. Everybody has different LIDs. Some people are told they come into surgery and they can't have coffee, they can't have caffeine. Some people are told they can have as much as they want. Everybody's different, so stick to your team and what your team says, definitely. Next slide, please. My upsides. So one of my upsides, which I forgot to write down, was that on one of the Facebook groups, we actually started a surgery WhatsApp group for the February, and we were all, none of us knew each other. We all joined in this WhatsApp group, and we're still all in it now to this day. We're still chatting, more or less. Sometimes I'll not speak for weeks. Sometimes you can't shut each other up. And it really helped because of the different things that sometimes you sit there and you think, is this normal? Should it be like this? And you'll think it's something stupid. And then I popped it in my WhatsApp group and everyone was like, oh, I feel like that too, yeah. And you're like, oh, right, this is normal. It's not just me being silly. So my other upsides is I feel absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love everything I'm doing. I always wanted to do the fastest zip line in the world. So my friend booked it for my birthday last year because I'd got down to weight to do it. And me and my mum always said we wanted to do it together. So all three of us went and shook me off a cliff because I'd lost weight. I quit smoking for the surgery. I've never started again. I had one blip last May. But I was like, no, you've already quit. What have you started for? Like the last lady said, going into a normal shop. I mean, what's normal? Going into a normal shop and trying something on. The first time I walked into a shop and picked a coat up that fit me, I cried and I cried and I cried in the middle of that shop because I could not believe I could put a coat on and it fitted me. I used to go shopping with my friends and it was like I'd stand in the corner really awkwardly because nothing in them shops fitted me. So I felt like everybody were looking at me like, what's she even doing in here? And now I just walk in and no one looks at you. No one. And people probably weren't looking at me in the first place. And people probably weren't thinking that in the first place. But to me, that was how I felt. I finally got my walking boots that I loved and I've wanted for years because they come past my calf. So I got them. They were a couple of months after surgery. I got them and they're still brand new in the cupboard because I refuse to wear them because I can finally wear them. I go walking now 8,000 steps at least a day. But I enjoy it. It's not a chore. It used to be a chore to take the dog for a walk. It was, everything just seemed to be a chore. And now I enjoy it. I love going walking. More upsides, I got back on the horse, back in the saddle on my friend's horse, which I've not done for 18 years. And I always grew up with horses. I had them all my life. But yeah, I got back in the saddle and managed to do that again. I don't have chafing anymore. Like the couple of days of hot weather we've had, only a couple. I've not had any chafing at all, which I used to constantly, it was constantly like under my belly, under my breast. It was red raw every time it was warm. I don't get that anymore. In again, the couple of days of hot weather we've had, I've worn shorts and a t-shirt and I've been in a paddling pool with my nieces and I've enjoyed it and I've had fun. Where normally I'd have like loads of layers on and a coat and trying to hide myself because people are looking at me, but no one's actually looking at me. No one's looking, no one's bothered, and I don't think anyone was in the first place, but that's how I felt. But yeah, like last week, splashing around in the back garden with my nieces, just loving life and enjoying it. It was absolutely amazing. My self-esteem and my confidence has just grown millions, like absolutely just in myself. I'm so happy in myself. And my husband is now, he's just joined Specialist Weight Management Service. He's watched my journey and it's inspired him to start the journey himself. So now he is going to be going down the bariatric surgery route. Next slide, please. So there we go, back on the horse. Don't feel like, I always felt like I was too big and looked silly, even if I got on the biggest of horses, and no, that's not one of the biggest of horses, but I'm back on. Next slide, please. And that's me and my mum and me and my friend when she chucked me off a cliff because I've always wanted to do it. Next slide, please. I think this is just pictures after after my weight loss. Next slide. And that's it. I hope I've covered everything well enough.
Excuse me, this is my gastric bypass little journey. I'm Lisa, I'm 47, I had to think about that then. And I am 1 year out post surgery. So this is me a year ago, someone who I don't recognise. I was 16 stone 6 when I had my operation. I had type 2 diabetes, which I was medicated for, high blood pressure, degenerative spine disease, lots of surgeries. I had arthritis in my joints, my ankles, my knees, I had gastric reflux, I had obstructive sleep apnea, what I needed a machine for every night, which was just so obstructive. And I think I was taking up to 14 medicated pills a day, which was just completely ruining my stomach. I was really unhappy, and there was just no way of finding anything positive about anything. Then I met Mr. Senapati, who put me with ABL, and I did for 3 years. It wasn't meant to be for 3 years, but obviously due to COVID and other things, it just extended, which was a positive. I saw a psychologist who taught me about healthy relationship with food. I had regular meetings, weigh-ins, exercise classes, and then other exercise classes that were recorded other times that you had access to. So that was really good. Regular updates and meetings with Dr. Senapati at Salford, lots of scans, just to make sure everything was going on all right inside. And then a couple of meetings like this one at Salford prior to COVID, when it ruined everything, where you got to meet other people who were in the same situation as you, and sometimes in a worse situation than you. So it made you kind of think more seriously about it. Then I got my letter that said, you know, we've booked you in, COVID's going away, so we can book you in. And then I did the dreaded liver reducing diet. It was limited, but it, you know, I'd already been taught at this point to put in what you want to get out of your body. So I found it quite easily. If you can't commit to the liver reducing diet, then surgery is not for you. I read it all over. Oh, I can't commit to this. I don't think I can do this liver reducing diet. Well, if you can't do that, you can't do surgery, end of. And making the change isn't easy, but if you prepare, that's what helped me. Coming up to surgery, doctor and staff explained everything. Surgery was quite quick, recovery was good. My advice, which is what Jodie always said to me, get out of bed and walk. And I thought, I can't do it. I'm in so much pain. I'm so tired. And she came on the ward and she got me out of bed, and I went to the toilet, and there was no stopping me then. Forget about the scales and your scars. Just walk and walk. The after feeling of the gas is horrendous, but the more you walk, the more it moves around, so then it gets out of your body quicker. And then once I was home, I had to put regular alarms on my phone to remember to drink water, to move. And then I found that planning for the days ahead, because you're not working and things kind of one day falls into another, and it was about making plans for that day. What was I going to eat? How long would I be before I drank? So, and then it becomes routine then. But don't Google anything. Don't go on these Facebook sites, because I did, and I really, I was on the phone to Jodie all the time saying, what about this? What about that? And I've decided to follow it, but don't take advice off it. If you're not sure, ring your nurses or your dietitians, which is where I got it help from. Post-surgery, only advice I could give you is plan your meals. I know it sounds really like difficult, like how can I do that? I work, I've got small children, I've got this, I've got that. But if you don't plan, you don't stick to it. So, you know, some days you'll eat more and some days you won't be able to eat a lot. It doesn't mean there's something wrong. It's your body just needs different things every day. Don't buy expensive pills that claim to prevent hair loss. If you're going to lose hair, you're going to lose it. It will grow back. I know a couple of people who are a year and a half out, and their hair is now thicker and more beautiful than it was before they had surgery. So if it's going to fall out, it is going to fall out, but then it's going to come back. So, you know, just plan for that. Get your protein in. Don't drink until 45 minutes after you've eaten, which is really, difficult still now for me. As soon as I've took my last bite, I put my alarm on 45 minutes. And I don't, because if you do, I did it once, I did it 20 minutes and I was thirsty and I was so poorly, and I've never done it since. And I'm sure there's other reasons for it, but just don't do it, it's not worth it. Be aware your taste change after post-surgery. I can no longer eat bread or white potatoes or pasta or anything like that. The taste is just horrific. I can't eat red meat. I used to love a steak before, can't eat red meat. So I live on turkey, ham, pork, lots of vegetables and stuff like that. And just remember that you've got a new stomach, so you've got to respect it. Don't think that it's a diet, it's a complete life change. So it's about looking now at, you've got something new in there, you have to look after it. Food, and that's the way I thought about it. Food is fuel. And always take your vitamins. Don't miss out on your vitamins because they're so essential. And the couple of days that I did miss them, I really felt a change in it. So I take them now, again, my trusty iPhone with my 1,500 alarms per day for everything to remember. And then it gets a routine then. So this was a bit of a quick snapshot of immediately after surgery. So 0 to 2 weeks, water and fluids like strained soup. I found that preparing them and freezing them and then just putting them in the microwave, it saves messing around. It saves me, you're thinking you're missing out because you just got this soup. And then 2 to 4 weeks, runny food like yogurt or pureed food. And 4 to 6 weeks, soft food, like, mashed. I only have mashed sweet potato now, because obviously I don't like white potato. And then 6 weeks onwards, gradually returning to a healthy, balanced diet. This is not like, I did this completely different because I was guided by Georgie, the dietitian, because I did quite well at the beginning. So mine was a bit different from that, but from the sounds of it, this is what most people do. Eat slowly. Chew carefully and chew it till it's literally disintegrated in your mouth, and only eat small amounts at a time. Don't watch telly while you're eating, because I never understood this before, and I have been told this numerous times of numerous dieting places. When you're watching telly, you don't concentrate on what you eat, but when you're eating and watching telly, your body will tell you that enough's enough, and then you've just got to learn that it is enough and you can't push past that. And then obviously be careful when you're eating things that block your stomach, such as white bread, rice. I think sushi is another one as well, which I used to love before, but I can't have it now. But friends of mine have said that they've had sushi and it's not been good. So just be careful of things like that. So this is my typical day. So in the morning, I'll have either boiled eggs, porridge, omelette with some ham, protein shake, which I make with protein powder, where you can get your own flavours, fruit or Weetabix with a banana. I know if I feel like it, I'll have a mid-morning snack. I'll have like some fruit or something that's quick. Then for lunch, I'll have a salad with a protein. So meat or fish, roast sweet potato, low-fat sugar soups. Although lately, like I said, your taste changes, so I've gone a bit off soups. And then I have a lot of leftovers because my husband is from Yorkshire and he eats for probably 3 people. So there's always leftovers that I always take for my lunch. Dinners, again, salad with protein, meat and fish, protein with lots of vegetables, sweet potato and gravy, stews. I've started now to have a bit of pork mince burgers with a lettuce. So instead of the bun, I'll have a lettuce, a little bit of crunch in it, and which is really nice. But again, the limited amount of it. My drinks, I'm obsessed with low sugar cordial Vimto, can't live without it. Skinny cappuccino, and then if I make it at home, I put extra skimmed milk powder in it that thickens it up a little bit. Or good old water, which is boring, but essential. And then your snacks, fruit, I've started to eat Snacker Jacks, little packets of Snacker Jacks. They're quite nice. It feels like you're having a bit of a treat. A small amount of nuts in your yogurt, give it your yogurt a bit of crunch. I've found this low sugar mousse from Aldi, which is just amazing, because I don't eat chocolate really anyway, but it just gives you that little bit of naughtiness hit, and I really enjoy them, and they're really cheap as well. I personally found support mainly from Jodie and ABL, and I dare to say it, Facebook groups, but you have to pick and choose what's right for you, because every operation is different. You know, there's lots of different surgeries. I had the Roux-en-Y bypass. People have sleeves and various other things. People start at different weights than you. I was 16.6 when I started, and people say you weren't even that big, but I was big. But then you got people that start at like 28, 29 stone, so you'll lose it different. So don't kick yourself if you've only lost £2 this 1 week, or someone else has lost £9, because it really affects you that other people are doing better quick. And not everyone, some days you know, you get to I can't remember the time, but there was a time that I stopped, and I didn't lose weight for a couple of weeks, and I kept thinking, oh, have I done something wrong? And then again, it just restarted again, but your body's repairing as well, so you just got to give yourself a bit of a break. So this is me now. It's a very flattering picture, as you can see. I'm 48 in a couple of weeks. I'm now 11 stone, so I've just lost about 5.5, just up to 5.5 stone. I've not got diabetes anymore. My blood pressure's gone. I don't have obstructive sleep apnea. I've still got degenerative spine disease, but it's a massive reduced impact on me. I don't have as much pain and paralysis that I used to have. Very little pain and discomfort from the arthritis, and significantly increased mobility. So, you know, I can run up the stairs now. I can run around the park and get in the car, and I don't have to wait to demist me windscreen because I'm out of breath. And it's just absolutely changed my life. And that's me on the left. That looks like I've hit her on the right a few times. And that's it.
Oh, Lisa, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. And there were some really good little tidbits in there that I think people should really take home. And it is such a journey, and I think everyone is slightly different. So I think social media can be useful, but it's like anything, isn't it? Sometimes you have to take it with a pinch of salt. Sometimes you know that it's not going to be good for your mental health and anxiety levels if you're going on there. So it is that sometimes you have to be a bit of a robot after surgery. You don't often feel hungry, and you might be enjoying weight loss, but if you don't eat, the weight loss won't stay. So you need to be a bit of a robot, and the alarms. Setting alarms is just such a good idea. I can't
even explain. If I showed you my phone, it's just constant. The alarms go off all day. Even my boss, she goes, water. Oh yeah.
Water, I bet everyone in the office is drinking more water now. And that's what we all need. We all know that we're quite bad as humans doing the things we're meant to do. I mean, I'm always thirsty, and I always think, I don't know if I'd be good after surgery if I'd remember.
Honestly,
but
it's so difficult.
You'd learn the hard way otherwise.
To be fair though, Jodie, I remember there's two specific things that I remember that you said to me, and one was when I rang you crying because my hair was falling out, and I said it's costing me a fortune. I was spending like 44 quid a month on these pills that you have to take every night, and you said, Lisa, if your hair's going to fall out, it's going to fall out. And I stopped ordering them, and my hair stopped falling out. But it was just weird. And then the other thing was, and I think a lot of people are asking about it, is loose skin. And I do have a little bit of loose skin. It's not massive, but I do have it. And like you said about that, and Dr. Senapati said it, if you get loose skin, you're going to get it. You can't stop it. You can't prevent it. It's that type of skin that you've got. So if you get it, you get it. But to me, the 5 stone off. I think I want to lose another half a stone, but the 5 stone off and the difference it's made to my life is worth everything. It's worth the loose skin, it's worth the change, it's worth, you know, and my family are all eating better as well, because they don't want to sit there and eat, you know, a massive bar of chocolate. And I say, you know, you enjoy it, but they go, no, Mum, I'm thinking, you know, I want to be healthier. So it does rub off on other people.
Yeah, no, losing weight is the most difficult thing, and I think the nation has woken up to the fact that obesity is the pandemic that was always ignored. So making these life changes, there's nothing around us that makes it easy, and bariatric surgery definitely gives that kickstart you need for that kind of rapid weight loss. But making the changes and making the lifelong changes is part of the reason people end up, you know, that you're part of these groups, that you do your weight management first. Is because we want the preparation and your mindset there, so that this is successful for you for the rest of your life. So Lisa, you have generally, you've just done fantastic. You look amazing.
I couldn't have done it without you and Stevie and the rest of the gang, because, you know, I used to remember going to these meetings thinking, do I really need this? Do I have to do this? But my emotions were all over, my hormones were just all over the place. And I think someone asked, I wasn't being rude with all the questions because I had to concentrate on the thing, but people asked, have your hormones changed? Honestly, I've never felt better. Honestly, I get up in the morning, I'm not in pain, I don't want to cry, I don't want to not go anywhere. When someone gets a camera out, I don't hide. You know, I always used to hide behind somebody, and it's not to do with the way you look. It's that you feel confident that you could be in a photo with somebody and not judge yourself. You know, you just got to learn to love yourself again. And I think having the surgery has changed everything for me. So, you know, if anybody else can get anything from that, then I wish them all the luck.
That's again a really good point, because your body image does change, and it can take a while for your head to catch up with the person you're looking at, and it can be a bit of a roller coaster sometimes for people, because they kind of think, oh, you know, people are telling me all the time I've lost weight, but I'm buying bigger clothes, or I'm not seeing it myself. And it can, for some people, it can be a little bit of an identity crisis sort of scenario as well. Not in a huge way, but just kind of getting used to the new you and embracing it and enjoying it, especially as people wait so much longer now for surgeries.
Okay. Hi everybody. I'm going to run through this presentation as per the slides. I think there's 15 or 16 slides, but it does include photographs of me in various states, so be kind. But Jodie asked me, I've been involved with the Salford weight team for a few years really now, culminating in a sleeve gastrectomy last January 22, and she asked me if I would like to do a presentation for this evening, which I was happy to do, and share my patient experience with you all. So here goes. I am from Bolton, so I have got a strong voice accent, so if there's anything unclear, please just bob it in your questions and answers. All right, so my name's Jill. I'm currently 57, and this is my journey from sufferer to survivor and beyond. And yes, it has taken me 57 years to achieve this goal. So, you know, in all, never give up, because it's never too late. Next, please. Right, so we start off like, because as a child, you know, because I think for a lot of, some people not, some people come into sort of a weight loss situation later on in life, but I think a lot of people also start from being a young person, being a child and growing up. And that was my journey. Always feeling that I was the bigger one amongst my friends, you know, at primary school and whatever, where you become aware of weight really. I mean, we are talking about the 70s when I was sort of that age, 60s to 70s. So I'm sure now it's a lot more sort of involved really for kids now, especially with social media. But I had a friend that was born on the same day as me, same age. We were actually born 20 minutes apart, and our mums met in hospital. And during our growing up, she was always, we were exactly the same height. She was the slim one, and I was always the one that was a bit bigger, the big boned one, as they used to say. I carried on, and I did start to become aware of this. And then, unfortunately, my dad passed, and I'm an only child when I was 13, and that was extremely traumatic for me. And I think through teenage years, that consciousness about my weight just continued and grew. I was very self-conscious and had a poor body image, which continued to affect my feelings of feeling a bit inferior, really, and my confidence was low. And normal ways of living were just like constantly thinking about food and, you know, what I should eat or not eat, dieting, checking weight, how to look and dress to try and look the best that I thought I could, that was acceptable to me. But, you know, growing up, people's glib comments, you know, that probably didn't, you know, mean any harm, but we're like, oh, the fat child, or, you know, sit down, you'll break that chair if you sit on that. You know, they do hurt and they do stay with you. So in this picture of me holding our little doggy, I was 28, 29. I'd actually just lost a couple of stone. I've been on a strict British Heart Foundation diet, eating practically nothing for 6 months, and managed to lose the 2 stone. So I was very proud and happy at getting down to sort of 9.5. But then I fell pregnant, and really that's where I've had a lot of women's health problems from since during the pregnancy. And that then really made the weight explode and balloon over the next 20 so years. Other issues such as, you know, I'm sure a lot of the ladies will appreciate, you know, with women's health, there's a lot of hormone imbalance, PCOS. I'd had surgery during the pregnancy for dermoid cysts, you know, 2 or 3 times. So by the time I had my son, I'd gained from that starting point 7.5 stone, which was just awful. You know, and in the clinic, in the maternity clinic, the doctor would make you feel absolutely dreadful by saying, what are you eating? Are you eating cream cakes? Are you eating? And you just felt totally mortified. Next, please, Abby. I've been a nurse for 33 years now. I've always worked in mental health. I'm a trained mental health nurse. Here's me looking sort of very bloated. I mean, I always had a round face, but I just look back at these pictures and just feel disgusted, really, with myself and how I look. I was very embarrassed. You know, I tried every diet going, Weight Watchers, Slimming World, Atkins, the Heart Foundation I mentioned, but nothing gave me that start to proper weight loss and a route to feeling happy for the long term. Next, please, Abby. So finally, I think they'd started, and it was fairly a new thing, was the weight management service. And in Bolton, I managed to get my GP to refer me to the weight management team. And I began with that. I mean, despite the weight gain through various conditions, I mean, I'd also had a couple of cancers in this last 10 years, which hadn't helped with the whole scenario, really. I started going to the weight management team, but again, I might lose, a few pounds and I'd feel, lifted about that, but then they'd just go back on and I'd just be swinging backwards and forwards all the time and just couldn't make any, serious weight loss. So eventually, I was sent to the bariatric clinic in Salford in 2016. But unfortunately, at that time, I just had the second bout of cancer and had had a total hysterectomy. And even though I went and I saw the consultant and he did feel I was a candidate for the sleeve gastrectomy, I couldn't go ahead right at that time. So a delay came in again. I went back to the weight management team in Bolton. Then on another occasion, I got as far as the Spire for my pre-op, but because I'm on a medication for a particular endocrinological disorder, it just created a problem, and again there was delay. It couldn't go ahead, and then of course COVID hit and we were all, sort of pushed into our homes and nothing was going on with anything. So again, I was just stuck to my own devices. So this was how I always thought I might look. I would like to look. I've never been a Slim Jim, skinny mini. But I've always felt like I didn't want to be a stick either, or somebody who looked. I always wanted to be just that, sort of traditional woman shape. So this is Sophia Loren, in actually the year I was born, 1965, saying she'd rather eat pasta than be a size 0. So I kept this picture as a sort of bit of a benchmark, really. So I then, next one, Abby, please. This is me. Don't be horrified with the picture on the right. I'd managed to get, I think I'd gone under the radar a little bit post-COVID. I kept ringing, managed to actually get again sort of into the books of, all right, okay, perhaps we can look at this and try and get you in again for surgery, consultation and surgery. So this is the end of 2021. I'd finally spoke around November. Yes, I was still interested. And then suddenly, really, without warning, got a call late December. Can you come in to Auckland's at Salford and have the surgery? And I literally just had the 2 weeks available to complete the liver reducing diet that you need to do before you go in for surgery, obviously to try and reduce the liver enough so that the surgeon can see what he's doing. So here's me on the left. I'm trying to think how my eyebrows are so big on this picture, but hey ho. And this is the 10th of January. I'd gone in, and then following the surgery, I was up straight away, more or less. You have these 4 or 5 wounds from the keyhole points, but certainly by the next morning I was up and feeling fantastic. Because when I'd had a lot of gynae surgery before, I'd always been in bed in loads of pain for days, but this was totally different. So I thought, oh, this is great. I'm up, mobile, it's done. And now we see what happens. So the first thing they have to encourage you to do so that you can be discharged is have a small drink of tea. See if you can tolerate that. And they bring you a small bowl of clear soup. And if you manage to tolerate those, then you're fine. You can go home. So the first thing for me, really, probably because I was predisposed to reflux, was I could only manage a couple of spoonfuls of the soup because it just made me feel so sick and bloated. But I did come home, and then you follow the plan, what Jodie and the team advise, in so much as 3 weeks of fluid only, clear fluid, tea, clear vegetable stock, nothing fizzy, can have some juice, water, whatever you feel you can manage. I found it very difficult with water, just pure water alone. But the main feelings for me were the heaviness in the stomach, the real bloatedness and sickliness after a couple of weeks, and basically the wind, the indigestion. I was like a baby. I had to walk around and actually try and bring the wind up after I'd had a couple of a bit of drink or something. But by the time you finish the fluid stage on week 4, you're desperate for something solid, really. So then you start very slowly introducing it's sort of semi-liquid things like yogurt with no fruity lumps in it, just plain yogurt, smooth yogurt. I used to have a Slim Fast shake, fine soups, just small amounts, which is literally very small amounts, and then onto your soft diet after another 3 weeks of the puree. So so eating a little bit more by and feeling a little bit better in so much as you're getting back to actually eating something solid, but it's still, well, for me, extremely small, and this heavy feeling was just something that I really had to try and tolerate and continue with, because I'm being totally honest, it wasn't pleasant. But I carried on. Medications that you prescribe by the team, it's important that you take those, you keep up with the vitamins. I am still on 80 milligrams of omeprazole a day. I use antacids and various things, but I think it's, for me, I've never regretted having this surgery, and I think it's a small price, really, to feel more confident, look and feel healthier, and just be able to do things that you just couldn't entertain doing before. Going a walk, feeling you can keep more at a pace with your friend or your husband. I mean, straight away, I had the motivation to start going to the gym, which is something I'd tried over the years a few times, but I always felt too conscious, too embarrassed. But since that day in February last year, I go, nobody bothers me. I just get on, I do my own thing. Bit of the cycle, bit of the treadmill. I still can't run on the treadmill, mind, but bit of the weights and things. I actually enjoy it because it's time out for you. So I say I've never regretted it at all. And then is there another slide, Abby? Oh yeah, here we are. Yeah, so this is me when I first started going to the gym on the left. The hair thing is because even though I had chemotherapy 10 years ago, and obviously then I had to go through a rapid menopause. But if we look a bit further on, you'll see that I've tried to. So I think it's about reforming yourself in a way that you feel most comfortable, not how you think other people should feel you look or how you should be, but what you do for you. And this surgery has enabled me to feel like I fit within society's norms. It's giving me that confidence I need to feel good about myself and my body. Next one, Abby, please. Everybody's different and has different goals, and it is very individual. As I say, it's what you need to feel you can move forward in your life without the physical and psychological burdens of being at what I call a bigger person. There's no blueprint apart from following the program. Be patient with yourself, but it's your journey, and you follow it as your body adjusts. Are we nearly done, Abby? All right, here we are. Here's me, having, because of the hair, reform myself a little bit through other methods, but again, that added a lot to me to have my hair back alongside the weight loss. So I've lost probably near 5 stones now. You know, I would like to still lose another 2. So that would be total of 7. But, you know, I'm not pressuring if I don't get there. You know, I'm happy with how I am. And over the period, you know, it's been a very steady weight loss. It's not been, oh, I've lost 3 stone in 2 weeks, or it's something you have to work at, keep committed to for yourself, you know, to put that investment in, take responsibility for yourself. You know, there's been weeks when I've just plateaued and been the same weight for what seems like forever, but don't get disheartened, just keep at it and you will get there. You know, the surgery is the start, you know, so make your life and the goal what you want it to be. Stay focused. I can't see that last bit. What if I put at the end?
It says stay focused and make small changes to your lifestyle where you can.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, I always thought at the beginning, surgery was the very, very last option for me, because I suppose I was hard on myself, always thinking, you know, I should be able to do this myself. Why can't I do this myself? You know, I'm an independent person. I'm a nurse. You know, I see to other people. Why can't I do this for myself? But I had to really swallow that and say, well, no, I can't do it. And if surgery gives me that platform to enable me to do it, then that's what I will do. And I feel so thankful that I've had this opportunity. So, you know, if you have that opportunity, then, you know, I've tried to be realistic. You know, it's, you know, it can be very hard, but it is worth it. So just keep on and you'll get there. So there we are. This is me the other week, last week at work. Because I also know, and obviously being a mental health nurse, I'm big on this as well as the physical side, that a lot of the time, yes, it's the physical appearance, but it's also I think it's the psychological burden that we carry, the thinking, how we've thought for years, how others have maybe, made us think, the patterns of behaviour that we've acquired, and breaking those is really difficult, and I've experienced anxiety, I felt depressed, negative about yourself, and all because you feel bigger than somebody else, and you shouldn't have to feel like that. So tackle the physical side, but also tackle what's up here as well, in your head and your mind, and the two go together. So is that it then? Yeah, that's the end. I'll just say that. Use Jodie, Chris, everybody. They're there to help and support you with whatever. They're lovely. So, and they're just there to help. So use them. Don't be shy. You're never a failure. Never think that. You're never a failure. Just be your own success story. Thanks very much, guys, for listening. Thank you.
So my weight loss journey, I had a gastric bypass 11 months ago, November 21. I was 52 years old. I went for 12-month lessons in Manchester, but then my notes were lost and had to do a few more months. So I was well disappointed. I went to all the classes, hospital appointments, got them all signed off. Pre-op was the 23rd of March 2019, which was the day of lockdown. So it didn't happen. Eventually, my health got worse. My knees were so bad I could barely walk. Shopping got delivered. My weight soared to 145.8 kilos, which is 23 stone. I was just a total mess. I couldn't move my neck left, right, up or down, as it was that big. I snored badly, didn't sleep properly, sweated tremendously. I was in so much pain in my back and my legs. Let alone I have fibromyalgia, lupus, osteoarthritis, and I've had a total knee replacement. I've got atrial fibrillation, high blood pressure, acid reflux, plus a few more to add to the list. I eventually had to get a scooter just to get me out for some fresh air, especially to see my grandson, who is now 2.5 years old. I couldn't even sit him on my knee as my stomach was so big it covered my legs. Long story short, I eventually got to have my surgery after doing the liver reduction diet once already. And 2 days before the surgery, it got cancelled. Again, well disappointed. A week later, I got a call, and 6 days later, I was in surgery. I was so excited. I'd already met with the dietitians and surgeons to discuss which was best for me and why. We all agreed on the Roux why, especially because of my acid reflux and high blood pressure. 11 months later, which is today, I've lost 9 stone 6 pounds, and I weigh 13 stone 8 pounds now. And although weight loss is now very slow, I already feel $1 million. I'm wearing clothes I could never buy from a shop or a store, as I was a size 30, and almost everything was black and dark coloured. Now I wear dresses and lovely tops, all colourful, and I don't have to pay for a fortune for them. I'm now about a size 16/18, and probably over the next 12 months I'll lose some more. I enjoy my food now more than ever, but I get full very quick. I choose carefully, eat slowly, the 20-20 rule. 20 pence piece size of food on your fork, 20 chews or more for each mouthful, and 20 minutes eating, then stop. But you'll find you don't quite get to 20 minutes because you're already full. Wind is really excessive, especially the burping. I never feel hungry, so I have to watch time and make sure I eat regularly. I keep food handy in the fridge to pick: grapes, berries, tomatoes. I love Chinese leaves and white cabbage, and you must always eat lots of protein. I've lost a lot of hair and I've had to have it all cut off. This is a downfall of the surgery. Eating out is really easy, actually. Just keep your focus on your protein, your veg, your salad. Eat your carbs last. I now have lots of loose skin, but I embrace it rather than hate it, as it is a reminder of my journey and not wanting to go back to how I was. But yes, I would love to have it removed as well. Going back to post-surgery, I had a liquid protein diet for 3 weeks, then mushy food for 3 weeks, and then introduced lumps like scrambled egg and beans, etc. I've only ever been sick once. That was at the very start of lumpy food. I've never had dumping syndrome, but I do find once I need to go to the toilet, I need to be near a toilet. I've got more energy in myself. I can't walk far because of my knees, though. That's the problem. Some of my tablets have also stopped for my IBS, my acid reflux, and one of them for high blood pressure. You will need to take a supplement tablet, A to Z vitamins and iron tablets for the rest of your life, and vitamin B12 injections every 3 months, depending on which surgery you have. I have Forceval from the doctor and ferrous sulfate. My family have been very supportive. Now I've stopped snoring, my back stopped killing me, the sweating's improved, and the most important thing, I can sit my grandson on my knee, and that is priceless. Staff have been wonderful with me, and I can't thank them all enough. I'm able to call or email any of them anytime with any worries or just questions, and I get a call also to catch up on how things are going. So my start weight was 23 stone, and 11 months later, I'm now 13 stone 8. That's 9 stone 6 pounds lost. I've been the doctors for years and years and years before I got to this point. Yo-yo dieted with every diet going. I'd lose weight and then put more on eventually. Always been a big girl, got bullied as a child. I went through all the psychologist meetings, went through the program with ABL Health for quite some time. Gained more weight over COVID, which was unfortunate, to be honest, because I think a lot of people did. My health got bad. I couldn't walk. I had surgery at the Salford Royal. I was really focused, and I've stuck to it like glue. Hold on 1 second. The negatives. The most important one is hair loss for me. I used to have quite thick hair. It's very, very thin, fine. I know it's great at the moment. I'm having it coloured tomorrow. I used to have very long hair. Now it's very short. You've got your loose skin. You forget to eat as you don't feel hungry. You have to really watch the time. You have to have your vitamin B12 injections, your iron tablets, your vitamins, the excessive wind. I'm starting to feel the cold now where I never did before, and my tummy gurgles quite a bit. Positives, I can buy from Primark and the market. It's brilliant. I don't snore anymore. That's good for my husband. Easy to turn over in bed. I feel better in myself. I wore a bikini for the first time ever 4 weeks ago when I was in Tenerife. I feel like I've got a lot of self-achievement. I fit in a plane seat and the seat belt with the tray down, and that's never ever happened since I was a kid. I fit on fairground rides now, as I love them. I've not been able to go on them for over 5 years. My grandson sits on my knee. I look forward to a meal out now because I know just what I'm choosing. And if it's not on the menu, just ask somebody for what you want and they'll give it you. It's not a problem. And I can breathe so much better. And the aftercare is always there, and the staff have been brilliant, and I can't thank them enough for where I am today. Thank you.
So hi, good evening. I'm Hannah and I'm 35 years old. I had my surgery on the 24th of January this year. My weight loss to date is around about, it's strange because when I first started the programme I was around about 21 stone. But by the time my surgery came, I was just under 19 due to the liver shrinking diet and losing my 5%. So my current weight is 12 stone 3. So I've gone from being a size 24 clothes to just around about a comfortable 14, some 16s in some things, but 14s in most things. Next slide, please. So my journey started in 2006. I was diagnosed with a glioblastoma, so a brain tumour on my pituitary gland. I've always been a bigger girl, but this didn't help with my weight loss. because I used to emotionally eat quite a lot. So if I'd had a good round of chemotherapy and I wasn't sick, I would go out and I would eat. If I had a really bad round of chemotherapy and I was sick, my mum would get me ice cream to make me feel better. I'd go to the shop at the Christie and I would get a bag of crisp and a bottle of cherry coke because I was poorly. So, you know, that's what I did. That's how we got treated. So I went to the doctors around about 2017 after my consultant at the Christie basically told me it's time to look after yourself now, Hannah. I've always been a bigger girl, probably around about a size 14, 16 through school, but noticeably the biggest girl in my group. So a lot what Michelle said as well, like yo-yo dieting. I tried everything from the protein shakes, the weight loss shakes, Slimming World, Weight Watchers, crash diets, Atkins diets, tablets from the internet, absolutely everything really. Went through the Lose Weight Feel Great at Lee in Wigan, and then went through the sessions from originally at Aintree, because it was 2017 when I started, so Aintree had the programme at that time and then got moved over to Salford. So supported throughout by all the nurses, staff and the psychologists. They were brilliant. Things started to move forward and I got the meeting with a consultant and the doctor. And then all of a sudden, as Michelle said again, COVID hit. So I did have a slight gain in COVID, but I was walking daily with my children. I had 2 small children, so we was making sure that we was getting out that hour a day. But it was just comfort eating. It was getting takeaways because it was easier. Couldn't get to the supermarket, so we'd just get a Domino's, that type of thing. Then all of a sudden at Christmas time, I got a phone call just to say, hopefully early next year, you'll be having your surgery. And then in January, I got a phone call at work and I answered it and they said, oh, hi, Hannah, can you start the liver shrinking diet? I said, yeah. When? Now. So they said, we've had a cancellation, sadly, due to COVID, but good for me, really. And I started the liver shrinking diet 12 days before my surgery. So I did miss 2 days, but I really stuck to it with really, really strict on myself. Next one, please. So again, I went on holiday this year for the first time since COVID, since 2018, really. I have got twins, which is there were 6 in summer, 7 now, and a lot of things again. What she said, like literally just putting them on your knee and cuddling them and things like that. So this first shot on the left hand side is in London 2019, and the one on the right hand side is with my husband this summer. So again, getting on an aeroplane and not having to ask for that extra seat belt, just having clothes that fit you, and again having a bikini for the first time since I was a teenager. And I have had twins, and I have got stretch marks on my stomach, and I have got a bit of a droopy bust, but I'm just like, yeah, look at me now. Next one, please. So these are my downsides that I've chose. So again, hair loss. Now, I have lost quite a lot of hair due to the radiotherapy and the chemotherapy that I had in 2006. So I have got a large part of the back of my hair that has never grown back. So hair loss to me has never really been a problem because I've wore wigs or had hair pieces and things like that. So although it was heartbreaking to lose at the front of my hair, which I never lost before, it wasn't new to me. So hanging and loose skin, I have got a lot, and I have looked into having it removed. And the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm thinking I'm really not bothered. I've been on my holiday and wore a bikini, and I felt more comfortable than I've ever felt in a long, long time. But another downside again is no longer looking forward to a meal. So I was chatting to a friend the other day saying, like, when you used to get excited for a Sunday and like, oh, I can't wait for a Sunday roast. I've lost that. I've lost that relationship with food. Or, oh, should we get a Chinese tonight? Or should we get a pizza? I mean, it's good that I've lost that relationship, but sometimes a little bit socially awkward when my friends are like, oh, do you want to come round for this? And sometimes, now I don't, but at the start I kind of just used to say no. So again, forgetting to eat is a really hard one as well, because you don't feel hungry. I was getting to at the beginning when I went back to work, I'd get to 2:00 in the afternoon and think, oh, why do I feel a little bit uneasy? And it's because I'd had nothing to eat. But again, I now started putting alarms on my phones and stuff, and I've got a calendar at the side of my desk at work telling me to go and get things. One of my vices was Pepsi Max. I would have it for breakfast, dinner and tea. Fizzy drinks was my absolute love. So to lose that, I was really, really gutted about, because I could give up chocolate and I could give up crisp, but fizzy pop was really my thing. But I've just started now, 9 months later, trying it, and it's horrendous. It gives me the worst burps you can imagine, and I've really not missed it. Iron tablets with toilet problems, they do bung you up. So if you've gone from having quite a poor diet where you go into the toilet quite a lot, this does take sometimes to me 2 or 3 days without. I will finally then go, but then it's 2 or 3 days without again. No alcohol for 9 months. This picture on the right with the stripy top was me 2 weeks ago with one of my first glasses of wine. It was nice, but again, I hadn't missed it. A noisy tummy and wind, burping. Luckily, I don't, I don't, whether it's what other people do, but I don't find that I don't pass wind by trumping. It's a lot of burping, but it's usually at really inappropriate times when I'm on a phone to a parent or something at school. I do feel the cold quite a lot. I have got problems with my thyroid, so I was cold anyway, but even more so now. And tablet changes. Unfortunately, I've had to stay on a few of my blood pressure tablets because it is a bit of a family thing, but everything else I've kind of come off. Next one, please. And these are my upsides. So this photo on the left was September last year, the first day at my new job. And the one on the right-hand side, it was September this year. So the upside to me is I now feel great. I'm getting compliments all the time. I feel like I've achieved something. I've proved people wrong. Even people who I love, like my mum and my husband, still was worried about me. Even 2-3 months after my surgery, they were still like, oh, we really hope you can stick it, Hannah. No, because they've seen me yo-yo so many times. Got new clothes, lots more new clothes. Shopping in general, so yeah, just little things like not having to go right to the back, not having to order, seeing something in Next and thinking, oh, did they do a 24? I'll have a look online. Much to the disappointment of my husband, now doing a lot more shopping. I feel like I've become a role model for my children. My son did say the other day, and he's 7 years old, and he's very black and white, my son, and they just said, you do look better now, Mummy, that you've not got a fat tummy. I said, oh, that's not very kind. He said, okay, a bulging belly. So kids notice it. You think that they love you no matter what, but my children really have noticed. I'm more organised now. I've got a lot more room in bed, and I feel a lot more comfortable on an aeroplane. Thank you very, very much.